Cave Paper is a handmade paper mill that focuses on flax paper that is dyed with walnut and indigo.
We've been in business for almost 20 years.
Our customers are limited edition printers and makers of books. And then there are also calligraphers and other artists.
This is actually the way that flax grows. It's a very tall plant. We actually buy the fiber already with the straw already removed. We take this fiber and then we put it in the machine. There's no chemicals at all. Really what's happening is the fiber is taking on the water and it's becoming something else. The decisions I'm making with the beater are very, very important. So like a photographer makes choices about apertures, and certainly, you know, this is our tool, this is our main tool for paper making.
And then this will be enough for like 4 sheets, so I won't have to add every time.
We have a mold that gets pulled through the vat. The pulp rests on the top of the mold and the water drains through. There's a part called a decal. You've heard of a decal edge. There's a frame that goes around it. You just take that frame off and that makes that beautiful expressive edge. And then you transfer the piece of paper onto a blanket. And it really is starting to be a piece of paper now. There's a stack and there's a blanket between each sheet. And then that gets put into a press, and it's a very simple press. It's basically a 50-ton truck jack. And the pressure, you jack it up, it goes up and hits crossbar, the pressure goes back through the jack into the paper. But that's just the beginning of Cave's process. We're not even halfway once we make the sheets of paper. And then they're ready for coloring.
We do indigo that's dipped several different times, and so each sheet is slightly different. You can control it a little bit, but we really don't like to control it that much. We like the nuances that just occur on their own. For walnut, we have several varieties. We've got solid walnut and crackle, and some of them are combinations, indigo and walnut. And we've started to do some brighter colors with pigments rather than dyes, so you can really broaden the range of what's possible in terms of color.
To make the black, for example, we do a layer of indigo and then we let it dry overnight. And then another layer of indigo, then let it dry overnight. Then a layer of walnut, let it dry overnight. Then a layer of walnut, let it dry overnight. Then a layer of gelatin, let it dry. So that's for one sheet of paper. The reason it has such a great quality to it is because each time you're working, you're sort of putting your soul into it, and you're touching it, and you're building it up, and that shows in the paper.
What we make as a product line also informs our artwork and vice versa. So Amanda does a lot of large-scale sculptural pieces, and I do some print-based paper making. This is a book titled Overlook, and it's about the moments in life that you often overlook. It was also about looking at the horizon or the panorama of landscape in a very abstract sort of a way, and just that kind of Rorschach-like way of the human mind wanting to find pattern within something that doesn't necessarily have a planned pattern in it.
I like to make things you can walk around inside, large-scale sculpture type stuff. I've always been motivated by trying to step lightly on the planet. So it's important to me that the sculptures are ephemeral. We just threw some 2x4s together, we put some mosquito netting under it, then we put a layer of interfacing material inside. We poured the fiber, water, and the slime together, and we had all those people shushing it around, official term, shushing, and we just made it as even as we could. So then we just lift it out and put it on the floor, and then lay wire, trying to make kind of a grid pattern, like weaving, really. And then the second sheet just goes right on top, and so the wire is trapped inside. But really the magic happens when nobody's around. The high shrinkage pulp, as it shrinks, it creates this beautiful undulating shape. And I knew that this center panel would be like a drum, you know, that it would be tighter because the wire is a complete circle. It's a collaboration with Bridget O'Malley. It sort of spontaneously came up that our work influences each other.
This is from a series of labyrinths in watermarks that I've done. And this is a representation of the labyrinth that's on the floor in the Chartres Cathedral. And it is done in paper pulp so that there's thin and thick areas in a process called watermarking. What I really like about it is how the thin areas require the thick areas and vice versa in order to exist, and you can't have one without the other. So it's just kind of linking things together, and like the circle that's in this big piece of paper kind of echoes the circle that's in the middle of the labyrinth here. So
it's sort of, after a while, it takes a life of its own on, so it's not necessarily what I'm putting on the sculpture. Sometimes it's sort of like, oh, this is what it wants to be. So I just kind of have the parameters set up, and you know, you just gotta listen to what's going on and see what happens.
Minnesota Original is made possible by the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.